Hi again, everybody. I'm just getting ready to do my next reading. Where we last left off, everybody was standing in the kitchen, and some strange man had entered. He just finished up Alan's story about his background a little bit, which I was actually kind of pleased with. Isn't that funny? Anyways, without further ado, who the fuck are you? John said, standing. The man turned around like there was someone behind him and asked, Who, me? Get the fuck out of here, you little shit, before I call the cops, he said. Alan had placed a hand on his shoulder. John, wait, but he didn't listen. Look at you, all fire. That's good, you'll need that, the man said, taking a sip. John knocked the cup away and grabbed him by the scruff of his blue jacket. I don't know who you are, but you're checking out, now. The man smiled wide enough to show all of his teeth, which further infuriated John. He drew back a fist, meaning to pop the smartass in the mouth, but Alan grabbed him and pulled him back. Ow, what the fuck? John said, facing him. John, this is him. This is the guy who saved me, he said. The man retrieved his cup from the ground and refilled it. Yeah, I saved him, all right. He went around and seated himself at the table. And right now, I'm the only person that can save your grandson. Just who are you? Joanna said through her shock. The man turned to her with a slick smile. Me? Why, I'm Saint. John's patience had worn away, and finally he said what he had been thinking since Alan started going on about hell, demons, and stupid universal truths. You people are goddamn idiots, blind fucking nimrods, and I want all of you out of my house, now. He stood, pointing at the way out as if nobody knew. Joanna and Alan looked ashamed. Saint maintained quiet disinterest, which seemed to be the full range of his emotional spectrum. John, Joanna began, but he cut her off. No, I won't sit here while you defend these fucking quacks. You sat on your high horse for so long looking down on me for you to pull this horse shit? Her mouth tightened. I was going to say, you're right, John. She looked at Alan, pain in her eyes. He's right, Alan. This needs to stop. Mark Anthony is gone. Our grandson is gone. This isn't helping. It's ridiculous. Saint set his empty cup on the table and peered at them all. Oh me, oh my, things are just so serious. My grandson's missing. My ex-wife left me. My husband isn't who I thought he was. Yada, yada, yada. He waved his hand. Honestly, I'm sick of listening to this blue-collar shit. He walked to John. You stuck-up bastard are coming with me. And before you go on, no, you don't have a choice. John took a step back, feeling his fist tighten. Alan wouldn't be able to stop him this time. Saint reached out his hand, moving closer to him. He drew back and swung, missing the boy by a mile, and almost fell. Saint caught him. Slow old fuck, ain't ya? Oh well, you ready, pal? John hardly heard him through his rage. He wanted nothing more than to knock the punk out and throw his ass in the yard. But all at once he felt his body falling. It was like one of those dreams where you roll out of bed, only with absolute clarity. His stomach doubled over. The carpet turned into a raging ocean all around him, moving up and closing in on him. He looked at Saint, hoping he could help, but no voice came from his mouth. Saint smiled, just as the world caved in, replaced by endless darkness. When John opened his eyes, what he saw made no sense. He stood in front of a school, all brick with a gate made of thick blue bars. Kids roamed around to and fro, but as John tried to focus on the details, he found that it was like a heat mirage. The big picture was there, but all the little things were gone. The same could be said of the ground and sky. Everything was present, yet absent. It made him feel sick. He doubled over and leaned on his knees. Would you look at that? Saint said, staring at him, startling him. Not all formed, huh? Kind of funny. It must be like what folks with stigmatism see. What the fuck happened? John said through ragged breaths. Oh, we're here, partner. We made it to the other side. Free pass. No strings attached, he said. Here, John looked at the shapeless world around him, paint by numbers reality. Where is here? Well, that's a bit of a shaky question, Jojo. I'd say we're in a reflection, but that's not quite true. Say, do you believe in God? John shook his head. He was adjusting slowly. God? What the hell are you going on about? I once thought God was one of them, but that probably isn't right. Shit! He sprinted towards the school. John didn't have any time to react, so he took heel after him. Stop! He called out. Damn it, man, she's getting away! Saint yelled over his shoulder. She? John returned, feeling his heart quicken. Saint dipped around a corner, yelling something John couldn't hear. He almost knocked a kid to the ground, but when he looked into his face, he found it easier to run. It was like a mannequin, lifeless, devoid of emotion. Flat black eyes, no color, skin like plastic, without shine. It was only made worse by the movement in the brow and lips. Its mouth opened to yell, but John was already gone, hearing a strange, hoarse sound behind him. He was glad he didn't stick around to see more. Everything here was a nightmare. Saint kept just ahead of him. His legs burned, his chest grew heavy. Finally, he stopped and called out to him. Much to John's surprise, he actually stopped, pivoting on his heels and ramming his hands into his pockets. The soulless kids all stared at them, making John feel uneasy. Though he was wiped out, he felt there was another sprint in him. She got away. Fast little shit, ain't she? Saint said, looking over his shoulder. We'll have to find her. Shouldn't be too hard. Seems like a small world. He smiled at this. She? You mean that chick you were after? What in the hell do you want with her? And just what the fuck is all this? He said. Saint gave him a hand on his shoulder. John, you tried so hard to convince yourself Alan and I were crazy. This isn't totally inaccurate, because you have to be a little insane to handle all this. So, he looked at him coldly. What does that make you? And that's going to be all for right now. I've already got the next chapter edited, so I'll be able to get that out as soon as possible. I hope you all are enjoying, and as always, I hope that everybody has a good night. Bye, everybody.